$3.13. That's a little higher than yesterday. And it's a lot higher than just a couple weeks or so ago. Remember when XRP got down to what, like $2.70, and the sky was falling and all that jazz, and it's over? Yeah, except for it wasn't over, as I said at the time, and here we are now. You have Bitcoin within spitting distance of $118,000. The market, so there was volatility yesterday, and I predicted that, but like I said in the video where I predicted that, that's not a hard thing to predict. I'm not a sage. I'm not some sort of wizard for predicting that. FOMC days are always volatile to some degree. But this one in particular had substantial significance because of how teed up everything is on a macro scale. If you're looking at, you can look at any index, be the Dow Jones, S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, Russell 2000, very close to breaking out into a new all-time high after years. You've got total 2, you've got total 3, you've got Bitcoin dominance. Everything is just at this crucial moment, and it's all happening at the same time, including XRP, by the way. And I'm just telling you, given where global liquidity is heading, we know that XRP and the rest of the crypto market tracks that, and a number of macro factors. We're in a bull market. What is most probable is that we continue to the upside. It could not be more obvious that such is the most probable thing, though I can't know for sure. Nobody does. But to think that it's more probable, we've already seen the best for the cycle and it breaks down, just makes no damn sense to me. Take a look at this post from the blockchain backer this morning. No words, just a chart. And you know what he's getting at here, right? On the left of this screen grab, you've got the total 2 chart. So that's the top 125 coins by market cap, excluding Bitcoin, of course. And on the right, you've got the Russell 2000, which is small cap stocks. And the reason he's showing both of these is because when the Russell 2000 goes, the altcoin market goes. And these are the two that have been lagging behind. Out of every other index I just listed a second ago, everything else has moved, including Bitcoin. But here you have the Russell 2000, which would be considered the riskier stocks, and Total 2 considered the riskier parts of crypto, like everything other than Bitcoin, frankly. And I'm happy it's viewed that way because you have more opportunity as a result. Historically, this is the moment where it breaks. It doesn't mean today, tomorrow, next week. I don't pretend to know exactly when, but structurally, yes, this is the environment where it does happen. We're going to have that final push upward, and then eventually we do enter bear market territory, but none of those alarm bells are flashing. It does not make sense to be scared here. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom. He's also looking at the Russell 2000 for good reason. And this morning he wrote, "Come on, Russell 2000, higher. Hopefully we get the daily close in this zone or higher." And so lots of analysts recognize just how important this is. And I'm telling you, one day you're going to wake up. Hell, it could be today. I don't pretend to know. You're going to wake up. You're going to see news. You're going to see everybody in crypto world screaming that the Russell 2000 is finally, after all these years, hit a new all-time high, and it'll just be off to the races. And guess what the crypto market will be doing at the exact same time? Absolutely rocketing. And XRP stands to be one of the greatest beneficiaries of this. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. This is others denominated in Bitcoin, so others priced against Bitcoin. And he says, 4-year falling wedge on others. So that's it's just altcoins is what he's talking about when he says others. That's the others chart anyway. It says, "I don't think many people realize how bullish this is. Only a matter of time before it breaks out to the upside. Be more bullish." So this is one more chart you can look at to see, yeah, we really are at that crucial moment. But with so many things at crucial moments, all that confluence, that's not a coincidence. No coinky-dink here, my friends. This thing's going to go blasty blast, and that's when we get the face melting. That's the final piece for us as XRP holders we've been waiting on, is that face melting session. And yes, it's still coming. Here's a post from CW. This is from early this morning. XRP is liquidating short positions. Yeah, well, you best not fight against the king. I'm telling you, man, XRP. Can you imagine betting against XRP in any capacity? People who use leverage get wrecked. Enjoy your wreckedness, you damn idiot sticks. Gotta have a little fun, folks. Here's a post from Chart Nerd, and he's citing key levels that he thinks are coming this market cycle for XRP, and he's citing Fibonacci levels here. And number one, the 1.272 would be $8.40. Then there's the 1.414 at $13.80, and then the 1.618 at $27. And there are so many analysts that absolutely agree that that's the type of price action that we should be seeing. None of the chart analysts that I follow have flipped bearish and said the cycle's over at any point. Not at any point. I can't think of one. And if they did, I'd start to question if I should be following them at this point because it doesn't make sense. Now, I always listen, like if there's a diverse viewpoint, of course I'll consider it, but usually the minority viewpoints are wrong. Sometimes they're right, of course. But when something like that happens, I'm usually like, are you sure about that? Sometimes it's plausible, though. I mean, I've been citing some minority viewpoints recently where I'm like, okay, I don't know, but it doesn't sound crazy. But if anybody would say something so bold as, yeah, it's over, folks, we already hit the peak, I'd be like, that's one thing where I'd be like, okay, it's a diverse viewpoint, but it's also stupid, STOOPID, stupid, unless we get a black swan event. But that's not what they're predicting. That's a black swan event. It's unpredictable by definition. Okay. Here's a post from Crypto Wizard, and he simply said, XRP closed bullish. So this is last night. XRP closed bullish, and XRP BTC should push higher. A breakout above recent highs would trigger an impulsive rally, and that is absolutely in line with what I keep seeing from tons of different analysts. And he's calling for XRP to break out once you hit that all-time high, $3.65, and rally to maybe $4.60 to $4.70. Here you have Dark Defender, who stated just yesterday, we were used to seeing XRP at 30 cents for years. Oh, folks, let me just pause to say, the good old days, easier times, simpler times. Not actually, no. I'm telling you, the amount of frustration and impatience that XRP holders had down there, for some, it's the same as it is here. Funny enough, it's going to be, and then there'll be, when $10 or $15 or $20 is the normal price, at whatever point that's like the standard price, not just some sort of euphoric blow off top, there will be people that get impatient there too, because, people gonna people, human nature here. But looking back, we were so fortunate to have XRP at 30 cents. Anyway, and then he says, we grew accustomed to the $2 levels for a while and felt the same comfort at $3. The next comfort zone will not be $5 levels, I think. It will be 2 digits at the minimum. Well, look, he may very well be correct. I have a suspicion. It depends on how high this thing goes. But if you're going to have that, and if you have a softened pullback compared to previous cycles in theory, I still would suspect that wherever we bottom out, it's going to be below $10. But what's that mean? Like, could the new low be higher than the price that we're at right now, hovering a little over $3? It's possible. I'm not going to make a prediction on that. I just straight up admit I don't know. I'm not into the price prediction game. But that type of thing sure as hell ain't crazy. But of course, if we're going to have a bottom next market cycle that's higher than where we are now, that means XRP went completely ballistic. I mean, you might be talking like $20, which isn't crazy. I don't know if we'll hit that, but that is not crazy. And then in the short term here, he wrote here, it's a Dark Defender just this morning. He said, breaking $3.10, the XRP on the daily RSI is strong, and the yellow resistance at $3.10 is getting weaker. And then obviously we know what's happened since then, because this was 4:33 a.m. We have gone through it, so we'll see if it's going to stay above there. But looking pretty good right now. Here's a post from chart analyst D. Greg Crypto. He says, XRP, one candle. What we need is just one God candle to go to Valhalla. It's on the way, and when it arrives, it's going to melt faces. Only true believers will go to Valhalla. Yeah, well, that makes it sound culty. I know he doesn't mean it like that. I'm teasing. But yeah. I believe that, I'm a believer then, but I believe that based on a ton of reasons grounded in reality and historic precedent. So that's all it takes, just to be data-driven, and I know that's what he means. But yeah, absolutely. One final move, and look at what he's comparing here. He's comparing the end of the 2017 cycle into early 2018, that massive run. He's saying we haven't had that yet for this cycle. That is yet ahead. It would be bizarre if we didn't have that. And so you'd be looking at $24 then for XRP, based on what he's targeting there at 1.618. Here's another one from me, Greg. He says, lower targets for XRP. Resting and bouncing from $3.03 is still in the cards, but I believe the retest was completed on September 15th. If we break below this level, we could see a drop to $2.85, which is a strong support on the daily chart. And as far as upper targets, he says closing above $3.20 will signal that we're ready to take off. Our ultimate target is $3.30, which will be a crucial indicator of our next move. And he posted that at 5 a.m. XRP obviously has moved a bit higher since then, so happy to see that. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. He says, the final wave for XRP, prepare accordingly. And look, he's highlighting something pretty gosh darn similar here. Look at this. the 2017 final pop into early 2018, and that's all she wrote for the cycle. We haven't had that yet here. And I've been screaming that too. It would be bizarre if we didn't have that. And if this market's stretching out, like Raoul Paul's been saying and Tech Dev has been arguing, okay, fine. It's still going to come, though, even if it's delayed because of that, because of a lengthening business cycle and global liquidity stretching out at a different pace. And that has to do with refinancing purposes. I talked about that literally yesterday. That's their argument anyway. So if they're correct about that, they very well may be, even though it's a minority position. It's still coming, even if it's not literally tomorrow. It would still be coming. Here's a post from an analyst kind of arguing the same thing also. I'm not familiar with this, but it popped up in my feed, so I thought I'd just share it. It's from Ether National. I don't know how to say that. XRP mega cycle is coming. Face melting high is loading right here. And noting the exact same thing that eGreg Crypto pointed out, Steph's Crypto pointed out, the same thing I've been screaming about for this entire cycle. You get one big pump, you move sideways, then you get the second pump. And also as far as RSI, Relative Strength Index on the bottom, you can see it had rocket up to the upside, drop back down, then rocket up for that second peak. Well, we haven't had that yet, so it's still going to move to the upside. It's just the correlation that's being noted here. And yeah, of course that would come. As the price rocket comes, RSI starts to get into overbought territory, and that's great news. That's what we want to see. Also, Crypto Insight UK simply highlighted here, XRP 3-month chart looks lit. Yeah, I would say it does. Look at where we are now compared to 2017 into early 2018. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty litty. That's for damn sure. So we'll see what happens here. I'm very optimistic that the best is yet ahead. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would